what we're beginning to see, and what we will see so much more of over the next 10 years, is it's very exciting because it's the next iteration of artificial intelligence. What generative AI allows you to do is to ask questions of the world's data by just typing in a question. And if we think back to science fiction, that's what we've all wanted to do. We've just wanted to be able to ask the computer a question, and the computer, with all this knowledge, is able to come up with an answer. How does it do it? Well, it predicts what word would come next in an answer. And it does that by having accessed enormous amounts of data. We call them large language models. Basically, they have read, although read and they are the wrong words because this is a machine. The machine has read, or at least accessed in the way that it accesses it, all the data that is available on the open web. In some cases, and this is potentially a point of high contestation in courts of law, it has also read IP and copyright material that it should not have read. And so we will see a lot of courts involved in those conversations. And at the moment, there is a court case in the UK where Getty Images is suing one of the generative AI companies for using its images without paying for them. So what it does when it has ingested all this data is it is able to predict what word naturally comes after another word, and it's able to construct really, really complex answers. Any of you who have played with it will know that it can give you very interesting, very eloquent things back just by that word prediction. Obviously, sometimes it gets it wrong. In the AI community, we call it hallucinating. It's basically just lying to you. And that in itself is another problem, because we need to be able to get to a point where we can trust the outputs of the machine. Because as it feeds back the lies, it comes across those lies and then repeats them again. What are the benefits of generative AI? Well, as I say, we will be able to ask questions. All of us can use AI now. And that's hugely democratizing of the tool. It means small and medium-sized enterprises that could not have used AI in the past can. But when we talk about it, we also need to recognize that all the data and the bulk of the data in the world is created in America first, and then Europe and China. But of course, we can't access China's data. And the rest of the world, if you look at a data map of the world, looks as if it's starving, whereas America looks pregnant with data. So there are a number of data challenges in terms of the data that these large language models are using. They're not actually using the world's data. They're using a small subset. And we are beginning to talk about digital colonization because we're taking our content derived from data from America and Europe to the rest of the world, and also expecting them to use that content. That's difficult in itself because obviously different cultures need different answers. So lots and lots of really beneficial parts of generative AI, but also some really big challenges ahead of us. Gosh, that's a huge question, because there are so many ways that AI can be used in your business. But I would say that to be able to use it successfully, you need to be very aware of the responsible or trustworthy aspects of artificial intelligence. So you shouldn't be deploying artificial intelligence, or if you're creating it yourself, designing it and developing it without a very good eye to the ethical considerations. We call it responsible or trustworthy AI now, because those are the things that might well affect your successful deployment. If you don't get it right, there is the possibility of serious damage to the company, not just in terms of brand value and customer loss, but also financial loss. We're seeing now more and more regulators moving to actually start suing people who are using AI irresponsibly or without the necessary trust components built into it. And nobody wants to be the company that is untrustworthy as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. Not a good look. Some of the most common deployments are in human resources. So using artificial intelligence to help you talent spot. There are enormous problems with the use of artificial intelligence in human resources, because they tend to bring in a lot of the biases that we as humans have. And we are seeing some legal action, especially in the United States, where companies have bought unwisely a suite of AI in HR, and the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission, is actually suing them because they are using the equipment that is actually discriminatory. So you have to be really careful. That's what I said at the beginning. It's a balance between using wonderful benefits of artificial intelligence. So you have to really make sure that you've thought through every piece of the procurement and the deployment of these systems. Where else would you be using it in business? Well, if you're a manufacturing company, you're going to be using it across the manufacturing floor. If you're a drug company, you're going to be using it to help you to design drugs. So we have seen from DeepMind in London something called AlphaFold. It has enabled enormous steps forward in terms of using AI in terms of any biological work. Great question, because it's getting out my crystal ball and rubbing it a bit. But undoubtedly, generative AI is a huge change that we are going to be we're seeing now. But as it gets better and better and more refined, it's going to be able to provide us with so many more applications of AI, uses of AI, simply by asking it natural language questions. So natural language processing is an AI term for conversation. It's what the computer is doing when it's understanding the language that you type in. So no more coding apart from people who are elite coders, so the PhDs of the world, but you and I will be able to, and can already, ask the computer questions by typing it on our phone or on our keyboard, and along comes the answer. You and I can ask the computer to code something for you, and we can ask it in natural language, type it in, and out comes the answer. So it's a hugely powerful and hugely transformative technology. Of course, it comes with the downsides, but more importantly, What we're beginning to see, and what we will see so much more of over the next 10 years, is that data is actually dominated by the machine. So if I back up from that question and explain it, first of all, every time you ask a generative AI model a question, it creates data. It is creating data 24/7. And we are not. Well, we are, but possibly not in the quantities that a generative AI model will do over the next 10 years. So we'll see less and less human data and more computer-generated data. That's one of the reasons why we need to get it right now. We make sure that the computer's not telling us lies and then relying upon those lies that it created for the next response that it gives. And you'll have seen some of the examples of that. For example, the professor who was accused by a generative AI model of sexual abuse on a student on an Alaskan field trip. And not only had the professor never been to Alaska, there had never been a field trip, but of course, this information is now loose on the internet. It's a total lie, but there is no way that that professor can change or get that stricken from the record. And so we want to make sure, as we use these generative models, that they are fit for purpose and they are not creating lies about people or about things, because we would really like to make sure that when we're using some of these generative AI models, we can trust what they say to us. So the data will change over the next 10 years and the way that the data is created. Artificial intelligence will change and grow better and better over the next 10 years. So that raises questions about many of the jobs that many of us do. If the AI can do it better, and the AI does it 24/7, and it never worries about whether it's breaking up with its girlfriend or boyfriend, what about humans? What are we going to do in the AI age? And that's a huge debate. AI, of course, is the tool that powers the metaverse. So as AI gets better, we'll see more progress in the metaverse. And my earlier comments about the metaverse being in an autumn or fall will swing back into the developments allowing the metaverse to develop itself. I think that we will see synthetic biology really coming to the fore as we make more and more advances, as I talked about AlphaFold earlier. As AI allows more and more advances, we will be seeing more and more synthetic biology. Then, of course, the potential battle between quantum and AI. So quantum computing, of course, has we believe that quantum computing will be able to break all of our encryption, which at the moment is encrypted through AI. So we will see more, I would say within 10 years, we'll see a burgeoning quantum community, and that will bring its own problems for business as well as benefit. It's important to make use of the latest technologies in the same way as it would have been important for Kodak to notice that there was a change coming in the way that photographs were taken. Businesses that don't at least look at digital transformation are going to find themselves on the back foot. But a word of caution here. You can also go hell for leather to getting AI and then finding that you have the wrong AI and the wrong systems for your business. So I would say that it's really important that you travel with caution, that you travel with your eyes open, and that you think about this as a business decision every step of the way. It's particularly important when you decide that, yes, you're ready to purchase artificial intelligence, to, I would say, hold your supplier's feet to the fire. Ask the right questions, ask detailed questions. Make sure that you have somebody in-house or a consultant that will enable you to ask the right questions. Because as we all know, one of the greatest wastes of money is digital transformation if you don't ask the right questions and do it correctly.